Listen to the hypocrisy of this monkey ass nigga. That's all he is. Fuck this nigga, man. Facts. Give a damn about this house nigga. This a real house nigga. A moot, the first gay president. Got a nerve to lecture to these beta male ass niggas in the crowd about voting for a black woman. Let's listen to him.
Just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly.
The brothers. You my motherfucking brother.
Say that when you have a choice that is this clear,
beta male ass niggas listening to this nuke ass nigga.
Somebody.
Beta male ass niggas listening to a moot. You know what I'm saying? Straight mook ass nigga, man.
Who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine.
For who? Illegal migrants? You mook? You mook ass nigga? Huh? For them illegal migrants, you mook? Fuck out of here. We see the play. Them house niggas didn't see the play. Them beta male ass niggas didn't see the play. But us chosen ones seen the play. You a house nigga. You first gay president. You mook.
And making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got help and cares about things like education.
You mean all the illegal migrants have health care? God damn it. We know y'all was fighting for them. God damn it. Them niggas didn't in the background didn't know. Because they beta male ass niggas.
Entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person.
Wow.
And you're thinking about sitting down?
It was funny.
You know, because Pookie might be.
Was it nothing funny? Beta male ass niggas? Laughing at a gay mook.
And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
A running mate to be a black woman. I don't know if you saw the op-ed in the Washington Post by some of the leading black women voices in this country, and they feel since black women are such a loyal voting bloc and black people saved your political life in the primaries this year, they have things they want from you, and one of them is a black woman running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. Multiple.
Well, you know,
Thanks so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. Come on. Take a look at the record. Take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's number one. There's a consensus on that. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to.
Ladies and gentlemen, who did they create? Who are them? Who did they create? What did they create? And I yield my time 3 more seconds. God damn it.
Protect my family and yours from them. Law and order. The Democratic mantra, the response was law and order with justice. Whatever that meant. And I'd say lock the SOBs up.
Wow.
Lock the SOBs up. And I'd say lock the SOBs up. And I'd say lock the SOBs up. And I'd say lock the SOBs up. Well, just as it is no longer legitimate to say the Republican Party is against, as a matter of course, Social Security, the Republicans are finding out it's no longer legitimate to say the Democrats are soft on crime. Because guess what? What has every major crime bill that's gotten this far been? A Democratic crime bill.
Y'all
A
hear that,
Democratic crime bill.
We know
That's
that.
the secret.
That's the secret. We know that. Your playbook is trash. There's no need to whisper. We see it. We taking a look at your record. You hypocrite.
Democratic crime bill. A Democratic president wants 100,000 cops.
Not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Are you going to apologize like Cory Booker has
Apologize
called
for what?
Cory Booker's called for it.
Cory should apologize. He knows better. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my whole career.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
The world is different. There's too much unfinished business for us to just look backwards. We have to look to the future.
I know Joe. We know Joe. But most importantly, Joe knows us.
That's right.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. Even call centers was rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. They're going to put you all back in chains.
In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black, why does this happen?
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this because let me just be really clear. Vice President Biden absolutely has a respect level for all people around him, for voters across this country, young people, older voters, voters of color, black people, Latino voters, indigenous, Asian American, Pacific Islander. So I'm not going to even traffic in any hypothetical conversation about if he is sensitive enough. In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I think Joe Biden might be suffering from that same white entitlement and privilege and ego, where he's just that old school white male who feels like, hey, man, they need me, I don't need them, or I got them already.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he made about working alongside segregationist senators in the past.
Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up two segregationist senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, Biden said. He never called me boy, he always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. we got things done.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind.
It's that old school white male.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
30 seconds or less. What kind of a chance would a northeastern liberal like Joe Biden stand in the South if you were running in Democratic primaries against Southerners like Mark Warner and John Edwards?
Better than anybody else. And you don't know my state. My state was a slave state. My state is a border state. My state is the 8th largest black population in the country.
His state is a slave state. And y'all know his state is Delaware. A slave state. You understand me? Facts. In Pennsylvania. Let's go.
State is anything from a northeast liberal state.
It's that old school white male.
Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made.
The first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men. Back from Mumbai to go meet with President Xi in China. I stopped in Singapore to meet with a guy named Lee Kuan Yew, who most foreign policy experts around the world say is the wisest man in the Orient. There's not a racist bone in my body. But I tell you, if you have a
That's a good-looking crowd right here. It is good to be back. It is good to be back in Jersey. Good to be back in Newark. You know, I just came from a rally down in Virginia. They were kind of loud, but they definitely got some competition right here. Mikey Sherrill will get you excited. That's what happens. You also may be a little hopped up on that Halloween candy.
Get the right
inspiration, because let's face it, our country and our politics are in a pretty dark place right now. So it is. It's hard to know where to start, because every day this White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and carelessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain old craziness.
Some are telling Fox Digital Obama's 11th hour campaigning for gubernatorial candidate Mikey Sherrill seemed like the Democrats were throwing a Hail Mary to win what's now become a close race.
We're done hearing Barack Obama try to tell us how we're supposed to vote. He let his country down, but he especially let down a lot of African Americans. So we really don't want to hear him tell us how we're supposed to vote.
Usually when they bring in Obama and the wash-ups, hate to say some of the wash-ups, Usually that means they're desperate.
The wash-ups. Well, some New Jersey Democrats say their vote is their way of standing up to President Trump.
To get Trump out of Boston, number one,
I told y'all. What I told y'all yesterday. What I tell y'all, they're going to find these low-level educated voters that vote to say, we got to get Trump out of there. We got to get Trump out of there. And this election ain't got nothing to do with Trump. Goes to show you the hypocrisy in the African-American community when they don't do their own researching.
To get Trump out of Boston, number one, my early report by Michelle because she actually understands all people. She is not admitting to Trump.
Your thoughts?
You know, it's really interesting to watch President Barack Obama. Look, it's normal for past presidents to be quiet and kind of let things play out. And, you know, certainly don't blame him for taking that approach. But he tries to be on the right side of the issues within his party on background to reporters. And I've noticed this trend. We were all sitting together at the RNC when the New York Times headline popped, Washington Post headline, I should say, Obama tells allies Biden's path to winning re-election has greatly diminished, according to multiple people who were briefed on the matter. So he essentially unleashed his allies to release that headline. It's typically how it works. Well, then all of a sudden Sunday, you get a new headline, this one in the New York Times. Obama calls Mamdani to praise his campaign, offers to be a sounding board, according to two people immediately briefed on the matter. Once again, very likely President Obama unleashed his team to go background to reporters. So rather than being a bold voice who kind of shapes his party on True Social the way Trump does, it's, hey, he's bold nonetheless. He does it to reporters on background. That's my guess. And it's just interesting to watch that take shape. And, you know, nothing wrong with it, but it's just an interesting way to maneuver.
Sears, Virginia gubernatorial candidate. Lieutenant Governor, as always, it's so great to see you. I have to say, I was rather shocked when I looked up on Saturday and saw former President Obama campaigning in Jay Jones' hometown with Jay Jones on the stage before him and then lecturing the rest of us about needing to bring civility back to politics.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hypocrisy, isn't it? First of all, as you all know, Jay Jones is the one who advocated 2 bullets to the head of his Republican opponent, as well as the killing of his Republican opponent's 2 children, and then said that the children and the wife, by the way, were breeding little fascists. And this is the president. But remember, Obama was supposed to be the president of hope and change. Whatever happened to all that? Where is the hope, Mr. President? Where is the change, President Obama? Of course, we know it's all hypocrisy. And then, of course, last year this time, he told everybody to vote for the black woman. Well, Charlie, here I am. Right. Here I am, and now he's singing a different tune. Hypocrisy all the way, but the Virginia voters are seeing through that because we are for common sense, and my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, is for nonsense.
You know, you raise a really important point, and I really honestly do not understand it, because we did go through years of lectures about how important it was to vote for Barack Obama to be this historic first black candidate. And then afterwards, we were told that this was the greatest thing and it was going to solve all these problems. Yes. Of course, it didn't. And in fact, polls show that over the 8 years of his presidency, race relations actually deteriorated badly in this country. Mm-hmm. And then for him to have an opportunity to help out the first black female governor, by the way, of a state that elected the first black governor in the United States, explain to me what are we missing? How does it? I can't square this.
Yeah, you can't square it because it doesn't make any sense. I told you these people are for nonsense. If I have to tell you that water is wet, then what are we talking about? We don't even have a means to come to some agreement. The Democrats, as far as I see, they continue to fight the Civil War. Everything is racism. Everything is color. Everything is this issue. Well, here I am, an immigrant to this wonderful country, And I am dispelling all of those narratives that no, there are opportunities in America if you avail yourself of them, because I'm the one whose father came to America with only $1.75. At the height of the civil rights movement, he still chose to come to America because he said this is where the jobs and the opportunities were. And little did my father know that when he brought me as a 6-year-old girl from Jamaica, that one day I would be returning to New York as the nominee for governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia. And by the way, I am also lieutenant governor of the former capital of the Confederate States. Don't tell me that America hasn't changed. Don't tell me that our children cannot succeed. Don't tell me that we cannot find ways to get along and live together. But again, these Democrats, they keep picking the scab of history, picking the scab of the past for their own benefit.
Well, it sure makes you stop and think maybe they don't really believe in all the things that they claim they believe in. Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck to you tomorrow.
Go vote, go vote, go vote.
That's right. It's the only poll that matters, is the one tomorrow.
Yes.
Hey, Sean.
But tell y'all to go vote for a black woman, right? But tell y'all to get out there and vote for a black woman. And this motherfucker don't even support black women. The hypocrisy, y'all, is right there in y'all face. I know a lot of y'all in denial about the shit. But it's right here. This big ear motherfucking moot.
That's all, folks.